Last section deals with nutrition and nutrients. So lots of information that you hear about on advertising, things like that. Nutrition itself is the study of nutrients and how the body uses them. You can be a nutritionist. You can go to SDSU and major in nutrition. Hospitals have a nutritionist who helps with meal planning and things like that. So a nutrient itself is a chemical that is supplied by the environment. So a nutrient has to come from the environment. It's not man-made, that an organism needs or requires to survive. If something is required in large amounts, it's called a macronutrient. So carbohydrates, fats, proteins are all macronutrients. You need large amounts compared to your micronutrients. And when you have a macronutrient, their energy is expressed in calories. But if you look at your nutrition label, that C is capitalized. So it's actually a kilocalorie that's on your nutritional information. The vitamins and minerals that you might take or that are found in your foods are micronutrients. You do not need large amounts. We don't measure those in calories. And then essential nutrients are a special kind of nutrient. They can't be synthesized, so they can't be made by the human body. Some nutrients, if you're running low, your body will actually make some nutrients. Essential nutrients, your body cannot do that, cannot synthesize them. So carbs, a lot of talk on TV, in diets about carbs. So carbohydrates are sugars, starches. They're an organic compound and they're a very good source of energy. A lot of diets nowadays suggest cutting carbs, that we're taking in too many carbs. So carbohydrates are ingested in a variety of forms. Grains, breads, starch from grains, glycogen from meat. Meat's going to have some carbohydrates in it. Disaccharides, which are your larger sugars, and then monosaccharides, which are your simple sugars. During digestion, complex carbs, like whole wheat, things like that, are broken down into your simple sugars, and then those simple sugars can be ingested or digested. Your body needs carbohydrates. If someone is overweight and on a diet, cutting carbs will help, but for a normal person who does any exercising whatsoever, carbs are very important. If you're an athlete, cutting carbs is not a good idea. Or if you just simply exercise every day, your energy level will be depleted if you don't have carbs. Cellulose is a special kind of complex carbohydrate. We don't digest cellulose. Our body can't break it down other than small amounts that take place in the intestinal flora. The main purpose of cellulose is that it provides fiber. So cellulose, for the most part, is not digested, but it helps food move through your body and prevents constipation and things like that. So cellulose is a fiber. It's a complex carbohydrate. Looking at my simple sugars, single sugars, monosaccharides, they're absorbed in your small intestine, where most nutrients are absorbed. Fructose, galactose, glucose are all simple sugars. They're found in different things. The liver is going to take any one of those, and they're going to convert it all into glucose. So once inside of your body, glucose is the most common monosaccharide. Excess glucose, so when we eat too many carbs, too many sugars, that excess is stored for later. So it can be stored as glycogen in your liver, that's in small amounts. Or when we start taking in too much, it's converted to fat, and then it's stored in fat tissue that develops or deposits on your body. So a big wrong type of advertisement, you know, like licorice is fat-free. Well, if I eat too much licorice, that sugar is going to turn to fat if I don't use the energy from it. Certain body cells, especially neurons, need a continuous supply of glucose. If glucose is in too small of an amount, amino acids can be converted to glucose. So totally abandoning glucose is almost impossible anyway. Because even if you do a high protein diet, you're going to be getting some sugars from the foods that you eat. Cells use carbohydrates to make ribose, which is the sugar in RNA. And then deoxyribose is the sugar that's found in DNA. So that's very important. So here's probably the part that you're most interested. The need for carbs depends on your energy requirement. You know, they can give you some averages or things like that, but it really depends on the person. What do you do for exercise? What is your metabolic rate? How old are you? Things like that. An estimated, here's an average, 125 to 175 grams of carbs is needed daily to avoid protein breakdown or excessive fat use. So the purpose of cutting carbs is if I don't get enough carbs, it's going to start to break down and use protein instead or stored fat. Which, you know, if someone is extremely overweight and needs to lose weight, then that's, you know, that'll work. That is okay. However, there again, if you're involved in athletes, if you are using this carbohydrate protein breakdown, it's going to break down your muscles. And most teenagers don't need to be doing that. I'll stop there before I move on.